Hey guys, and welcome back to the Crochet YouTube channel. Today we're doing a little bit of a different video. It's not a pattern review or anything. I just thought that to help some beginners or people new to crochet, I would go over some of the materials and tools that I use, ranging from yarn to hooks to miscellaneous items that I use. So I have pretty much my whole hook collection here. We're going to be going through my little craft bag here, and I'll be going over the prices of most things and just trying to help you guys figure out where to start because I know as a beginner I had no help at all. Yes, my grandmother taught me a few things, but when it came to like figuring out which materials I liked and started using for myself, it was all a guessing game. So I thought that I would just tell you guys like which products I prefer. So we're going to start with hooks. Now there are so many different types of hooks and sizes, and it's a lot to take in. There's all different kinds of materials used. There are plastic hooks, there's acrylic hooks, metal, I've seen wood and bamboo. Like there's so many different unique materials used to make crochet hooks. I personally prefer metal hooks. I have experimented with a lot of different types of hooks. For instance, I have plastic hooks here, and I've also bought acrylic hooks, and a few years ago for Christmas, my mother got me a set of wood crochet hooks, which were very pretty and excuse me. They're very nice to look at, they're very pretty, but when it comes to actually using them and their functionality, I've always preferred metal hooks, especially the Boye company. I think that's how you pronounce it, the B-O-Y-E. It's pretty much like the main metal hook producer. They also have like the plastic and acrylic ones I bought were from that company. So where to start? You can buy learn to crochet kits, which come with instructional books, instructional video. They come with I think just one crochet hook, and it comes with a bunch of other stuff like stitch markers, pretty much everything you'll need to know to start your crochet journey. And I actually looked it up, and the Boye company Learn to Crochet kit is $12.99, and you can find it at a local craft store, Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. You can also find it at Walmart. I've seen lots of them at Walmart. So $12.99 is not too bad, and then you just pick up a skein of yarn and you're on your way. I also recommend picking up one of these kits, or not kits, it's a crochet hook set. So this is just the Boye hook set. It comes with thread and yarn hooks. You're probably like, what are thread hooks? Thread hooks are just the smaller hooks that people tend to use with thread instead of yarn, and then the yarn hooks are the thicker ones that people use with yarn. Although there have been crossovers, like I've used thread hooks for yarn, and I've also used yarn hooks with thread. So I think it's just helpful to have a set of yarn and thread hooks. So this is what the inside, this is not what the inside of yours will look like. There will be the yarn hooks over here, but I have put most of my crochet hooks into this cute little, it was actually a planter. It started off with having a cactus in it, but it died, so I cleaned it out, and I put my scissors and yarn hooks in there. So this would have yarn hooks on the side, thread hooks on the side. There's also, like, I've doubled up. There's a bunch of thread hooks that I put in here because I put all my thread hooks in here and all my yarn hooks in my little container. So one of these, it ranges from $25.87 on Amazon to $14.97 at Walmart. You can get this at Walmart. I've seen plenty of them. I've even seen different colors. Like I've seen a purple one, I've seen a blue one. I kind of wish I had the blue one, but this was the one that I found at Michael's. So I highly recommend getting one of these kits because it gives you the basic sizes that you need to work with, and if you eventually need different hook sizes, you can go to like Michael's or Joann's or even Walmart, and you can just pick up the specific yarn hook size that you need. So that's one way to do it. You can also just like give it your all, just pick out whatever, like experiment, try it for yourself. Maybe you'll find out that metal hooks aren't for you. Maybe you like the more plastic or wood ones. My only issue with the plastic and acrylic ones was when it comes to their integrity. As you can see, they're really bendy, so when you're trying to like get into like a tight stitch and it's just bending all over the place, I don't find it very functional. The plastic ones are a little more sturdy, but I just had the problem of like the finish on them. It's kind of harder to get them through the stitches. So I personally prefer metal hooks. That's about all I have to say about hooks. So we're gonna move on to yarn. A lot of people and a lot of beginners don't really know how to determine what materials they need. I've had some beginners just like pick a crochet pattern and get the materials they need for that. I think that that's a pretty good way of doing it, but it has to be like a simple beginner pattern. I recommend blankets because amigurumi can get a little complicated, so I would start learning your crochet techniques with more like blankets or pot holders or something like that. But I think going the picking a pattern and all of that route is very good because it gives you the specific crochet hook that you'll need for the project and the specific type of yarn. Because I know that when it came to yarn and I started crocheting, I was so overwhelmed because there's thousands of different types of yarn, hundreds of yarn companies, just it's all over the place. But from the beginning, I've always preferred Red Heart Super Saver. I believe it's because it's what my grandmother used and it's what I was taught with and learned. So this is just what a Red Heart Super Saver skein looks like. It is acrylic worsted weight yarn. So there are different yarn weights. Worsted weight is a size 4. It's a little confusing, but you can look up like all these kind of charts online and everything, and it'll tell you what the difference between fine, worsted weight, bulky, super bulky, like all of that. It'll tell you everything you need to know. And each yarn skein, it'll tell you which crochet hook and knitting needles it is recommended to use with the yarn. And I recommend Red Heart Super Saver to beginners because it's a medium it's a medium weight yarn, so it's not too thick, it's not too big or small. I know a lot of people recommend beginners start with a bulky yarn so that they can kind of learn to see their stitches and what they're doing, and that's a great strategy. So I would either go with worsted weight or bulky yarn. A skein of Red Heart Super Saver yarn can go from $3 to $5 at Walmart, and it's usually about $5 or $6 at a craft store. And I know not all Walmarts carry yarn, which is interesting, but I know all craft stores carry yarn, so go there. And once you kind of get the hang of crochet, experiment. Like, there's brands of yarn that I prefer, there's brands of yarns that I don't prefer. There's different types of yarn, like there's fluffy yarn, there's baby yarn, there's all this different kind of yarn. So just take your time and experiment with it. That's pretty much all I can say about that. And it's the same that goes for all of these materials that I'm going to be showing you. Like, it's just about what you prefer when doing your craft. These are just the materials that I prefer and what I think would be good for some beginner crocheters. So yes, Red Heart Super Saver, highly recommend. They're not sponsoring this video, sadly. I wish they would, but I love this yarn company, and it's pretty cheap, and it's like the perfect medium. Half, if not most, of my yarn stash is Red Heart Super Saver, I will say that. So moving on to my craft bag. So I got this bag at Hobby Lobby for about $5 or $7, I can't really remember, and I went to look it up online and I couldn't find this exact one. I bought it in store. I love this bag. It's the perfect size. Before I was using a bag about half the size of this, but I'm so happy I bought this bag. So we're gonna go through some of the things that I carry around with me as a crafter and a crocheter. First of all, a mini pair of scissors, or just a pair of scissors. I have these scissors that I keep in my hook jar. We'll call it a hook jar. And then these are the ones that I carry around in my bag. They're great for travel, and they're small enough to fit in the bag. I also like that it has a cap on it so that the sharp bit is not poking and ruining everything. I bought these for first grade and elementary, and they've lasted me this long. They're still sharp, and I love the cover on them. So, recommend. Excuse me. I think we bought these at Walmart for like $2, so go check it out. I love these scissors. Next is a tape measure. I got this at Hobby Lobby for $3.49. I looked it up. It's just a simple design. I think it's a cloth on the outside, and it has a button right here that you use to pull it back in. And it has inches and centimeters, which is always nice, and I think it goes up to about 50 inches. It goes up to 60 inches, which is perfect. So it's always nice and handy to have a tape measure, and I like having the smaller one because it's not all over the place. It's also nice to have retractable ones because you don't have to worry about having like a bunched up tape measure. But if you have one of those tape measures and it's what you prefer, then go ahead. The next thing I have in here, I have a lot of stuff in here, is a a row counter or a stitch counter. So all this is whenever you complete a stitch or a row and you're planning on counting them, these are mostly used for blankets, I believe, because you do like hundreds of rows. You just click it, and now it's telling you that you've done 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. I personally never really use this unless I'm working on a blanket and I don't feel like counting the rows once I'm done. So it's always nice to just have, and I think this was like $1 or $2 at Michael's, so it's not bad to have. The next thing I have are push pins. I think that's what these are called, or sewing pins or whatever. I got a set of these for about $2 at Walmart, and I got this set because of the pretty colors, but any kind will do. These are great for sewing, especially if you're an amigurumi artist, placing the different pieces and then having to sew them together. These are great for placing so that the pieces don't move, and you can make the sewing job look great. I could also see how these are very useful for crocheting clothing or sometimes even blankets. So moving on, I have this little contraption. This is one of those little plastic totes that you can buy pretty much at any store. I think I got this at Walmart for like $1 or 50 cents. So these latch, which is great because it keeps the top on really secure so it doesn't fall out and go everywhere. And this is what I use to keep my safety pins in, my yarn needles, and my stitch markers. Yarn needles and stitch markers are a big one. You can get a set of yarn needles at Walmart or Michael's for like, I want to say like $3, and they're pretty much what you use for either sewing pieces together if you're an amigurumi artist, or for just sewing in your ends after you do a blanket or something. So yarn needles are a big one. There's all different kinds of sizes and different like tips or whatever. I just use basic yarn needles. I don't get really into that part of it because the ones I have work just fine. Stitch markers are also a great one, especially for if you're doing blankets. There's all different kinds of stitch markers, but I've always preferred these ones. You just clip it into place and yeah, they always stay very well. They don't go anywhere, and I've never had an issue with them. So those are the ones I prefer. Going back to the yarn needles, they do have plastic ones, and most of the times the kits that you buy to like learn how to crochet will come with the plastic ones, but these they bend and they break and I hate them. So I would not recommend using plastic. I bought these metal ones and they have lasted me since the day I got them. I've had to buy at least 3 sets of these plastic ones because they just kept breaking. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but they kept bending and breaking and I couldn't use them anymore, so recommend the metal ones. And I just got this case of safety pins at Walmart for like $1. They weren't too bad. And so when I'm done, I just put the top on and clip. There's all different kinds of like mini plastic storage unit things like this. You can just go to Walmart and just pick one up for like 70 cents. It's not bad at all. Moving on, I keep a bag of embroidery thread in my bag. I just keep the basic colors and the ones that I think I would use, like whites, reds, blacks, pinks. It's nice to have in there, especially doing amigurumi, stitching on the faces and everything. Next, I have buttons. Again, I don't use buttons very often, but it's just nice to have them in here, because if I didn't have these in here, I don't know what else I would have. So it's just an assortment of buttons that I've collected over the years. They do sell like jars of assorted buttons at Walmart, and I really want like a jar of them, so I think I might upgrade to that. And I have some straggly buttons in here. I also have these. This is not a necessary tool to have. These are called brads, and they're like they have diamonds on the front. I just use these for some of my amigurumi projects as eyes when I don't have safety eyes available. And I use these all the time on my elixicottles that I have up for sale in my Etsy shop, because when I was in Arkansas visiting my boyfriend, they don't sell safety eyes in craft stores or at Walmart or anything. You have to order them online, and I don't understand why. You walk up to an employee and you're like, do you sell safety eyes? And they're like, I don't know what that is. Or if they do, they're like, yeah, we don't sell them. So I had to pick up some of these, and they worked fine as eyes because they open up in the back and they don't fall out. So I keep them around because you never know. Now, this is a 5-inch yarn needle. This is also something that you don't really need or use a lot. If you're an amigurumi artist and you embroider faces on your dolls or do like the bigger amigurumi, I recommend getting one of these. The reason I bought this one is because I was doing a pattern of a giant pumpkin, and usually the pumpkin patterns you need to sew the yarn like over the side of the pumpkin to create those ridges, and so I needed one of these so it didn't get lost in the project. And ever since then, I've used these for embroidering my dolls' faces and everything. So if you're into that, definitely get one of these. It doesn't hurt to have. And that's about everything I have in here. I have these like mini crochet hooks that have a point at the end. I do not know what their purpose is. And I would love for someone to comment below and let me know, because I've had these in here forever and I don't remember where I got them or how they came to be in my bag, but I would like to know what the ends are used for and why they're so small. So yeah, this has been a pretty long video. I'm sorry about that, but I'm very passionate about the materials I use to create the things that I create. And I know as a beginner it can be very, very overwhelming of like, what do I do about crochet hooks? What do I do about yarn and materials and everything? And I promise, the more you do it, the more you understand and see like which things you prefer to use. These are all things that took me years to figure out that that's what I prefer, and it's like my method. It's the method to my madness. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful in some way. And this was a little bit of an excuse to just talk about my things, but I hope you guys liked it. So on to the next part of the video where I talk about what's going on in my crochet world and what projects I'm working on. I just had an order come in for a fox theme baby blanket, so I hope to be working on that soon. I've also been working on some lovey blankets because I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I'm in the process of making patterns to eventually write a book, so I've been working on that. And other than that, not much. I haven't really had any Etsy orders or anything. So I'm trying to find another pattern to do a pattern review of. So if you guys have any recommendations, I do paid and free patterns. So if you're not sure if you really want to do a pattern, then let me do it. Let me let you know how I liked the pattern and if it's worth the trouble. So I'll take pattern review recommendations in the comments below. And yeah, so I will have all my socials and everything linked below. I'll have my blog linked below. You can go there for some beginner-friendly educational posts. I also have free patterns on there that are all beginner-friendly. And I have my Etsy shop linked below. I'm currently having a Father's Day sale, 15% off most items in my shop up until the 21st, the day after Father's Day. So go check that out. And I'll have my Instagram and everything else linked below in the description, so go check it out. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a good day, good week, good month, good year so far. And good luck on any projects that you're currently or will work on. And happy crafting. And until next time, bye guys.